Hey there, it's Glenn. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to install this pre-wired single coil magnetic pickup harness called the Florentine Screamer in your cigar box guitar. All right, let's do this. Here's the pickup unwrapped and on top of the project. As you can see, we have the end pin jack, which is plenty long enough to get through the thick walls of this cigar box. This is the tone knob, you can tell with the green capacitor on it, the volume knob, the corresponding tone and volume caps, and the single coil pickup, which I have placed where it is that I would actually like it to go through the lid of the cigar box. Now, I've also measured down 25 inches from the nut to find the bridge because this guitar was built on a 25-inch scale. But the reason I want to do that is so that I can determine where on the cigar box body I would like this pickup to fall, and I would like it a little bit closer to the neck because that's going to give me a bassier sound. If I want more of a trebly or a higher end sound, I could place it down closer to the bridge, but in this case, like I said, closer to the neck. And by doing so, I'll also be able to find out when I drop this pickup through the lid, I'm going to have to cut a channel out in this neck, and I want to make certain that there's nothing in this neck, like a screw or anything else, that's going to obstruct me cutting a channel in to accept the pickup. And the tools we'll be using for this project are painter's tape, a drill driver, file, mallet, chisel. I have a keyhole saw, a pull saw, a square, razor knife, measuring tape, a couple of clamps, very important. And here I have 4 different twist drill bits. I have a 1/2 inch bit, which is 12.7 millimeters, a 3/8 inch bit, which is 9.5 millimeters, a 21/64 inch drill bit, which is 8.3 millimeters, and a 5/64 inch drill bit, which is 2 millimeters. What makes this pickup fantastic is the ease of use. Everything's already pre-wired. The end pin jack, the volume and tone knobs, everything's soldered, so I don't have to do any of that. And this mounting plate, which also serves as the pick guard, covers plenty of surface area. So if the hole that we cut for this pickup to be put or to be insert through the cigar box lid is a little rough or a little unseemly in any direction, this mounting plate will cover up those rough edges. Now that hole that we're going to want to cut is going to be in this direction 3.5 inches, which is 89 millimeters. And in this direction, the hole that we'd like to cut is going to be 1 1/8 inches. There we go. Yeah, 1 1/8 inches, which is 28.575 millimeters. I've gone and slapped some blue painter's tape on top of the cigar box lid so that I can draw some lines on here and cut some edges without really marking up the rest of the box. So I've measured down from the nut 25 inches to find where the bridge is going to land. So therefore I can better map out where it is I'd like the pickup to go into the lid of the cigar box. While the measurements for where it is you would like your pickup to land on your cigar box are going to be different from mine, in this case, I know that I want the top edge of this pickup to be 2.5 inches away from the top edge of this cigar box, which is 63.5 millimeters. Is it? It is! All right, and so knowing that, I have already found the center line here, which should line up with the center of the neck, and in this case, it does. So I've measured from both sides of the cigar box to find that center point. Now, knowing that also, I want 3.5 inches in length in this direction, which is 89 millimeters, to cut in for the top edge of the pickup. I'm going to mark that out here with my handy dandy square. And I know that I want it to be 1 1/8 inches or 28.575 millimeters in this direction. I'm just going to measure down 1 1/8 inches, square that up. Now I'm going to use my razor knife and square to draw or to score some nice crisp lines on the lines that I've drawn, so that when we go to cut this, not only will I have a guide of where it is that I would like to cut, but the action of the saw going through the wood could splinter some of the wood, and I just want the edges to be as clean as possible. I know the pick guard's going to cover it, but I'm just me being me. Like with my shadows in the way, making it impossible for me to do this. I've got the lid propped up, taped up, marked out, scored out, and now I'm going to use this 3/8 inch drill bit, or 9.5 millimeters, to just kind of put a couple of holes. By the way, this thing's propped up and clamped down. I took it off the cigar box and, like I said, propped it up and clamped it down just so I have a little bit of room to drill some holes and do some sawing. So I'm going to carefully, or as carefully as I can, put a few holes into this thing. And then I'm going to use this keyhole saw to finish with this little cutout. Now I'm going to use my file to clean up this hole. Now let's try a little dry run on the pickup to make sure it fits through that hole. Oh! See what you got? Alakazam! You can quite plainly see I'd have a difficult time inserting a pickup at this moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use that opening that I've created here in the box lid to mark out the distance that it's going to take in order to create a void for that pickup. When I'm creating the void here to accept the pickup, I want to know the total height of the pickup, which in this case is 7/8 of an inch or 22.225 millimeters. But I don't want to cut down an entire 7/8 of an inch or that in millimeters into the neck, because I want to take into account the thickness of the lid, the pick guard, and maybe a little bit of distance of the pickup coming up above the pick guard. So in this case, I've got about 3/8 of an inch, or in millimeters, that's 9.5 millimeters. I've got about 3/8 of an inch coming up, so I'm going to take that away from the 7/8, which leaves me 4/8 or half an inch. So I'm going to cut down about half of an inch into the neck to create that void. So on both sides of the neck, I'm going to measure down that 1/2 of an inch. I'm going to start with that. If I need to go deeper later, I can always go deeper later. And then I'm going to repeat by drawing that 1/2 inch void on the other side of the neck as well. With the neck firmly clamped into place, I'm going to use a square and a saw to cut in a series of lines inside this void. And I'm going to saw all the way down to that 1/2 inch mark that I've created. Now using the chisel and the mallet, go ahead and clear out all that scored wood in the neck. Now I'm going to use the file to kind of clean up that void a little bit. Now let's see if this bad layer is going to fit. Bada bing! Now I'd like to mark out where I want the volume and the tone to go. And essentially, I want to keep them close to my picking or strumming hand, but I want to keep them out of the way of the hand as well, so I'm not constantly hitting them as I'm playing. So knowing that the bridge is in this area, I want to keep my volume and my tone, like I said, close at hand, but out of the way. So I'm going to ballpark it right about there, put down some blue painter's tape so I can punch some holes in the lid and drill those holes for the pots that'll come up through to accept these caps. So with my tape down and my pencil and my square handy, I'm just going to measure up so I can have some consistency as to where the volume and tone are going to go. I'm going to measure up the same distance from one side for placing both of those knobs. And I can start a little guide hole here if you have an awl or scratch awl punch handy. And using my 21/64 inch or 8.3 millimeter drill bit, I'm just going to create 2 holes for those volume and tone knobs. After having marked out the hole where you'd like to place your end pin jack, use your 1/2 inch drill bit or your 12.7 millimeter drill bit to create that hole. Your end pin jack will have 2 washers sandwiched in between 2 nuts on one side, and a washer to go over the outside with a nut, tighten down, and the outer cap as well. Hey-o! Now I'm going to insert the shaft of the 2 pots up through the holes that we created through the lid of the cigar box, fasten them in place with the washers and nuts. The pickguard mounting plate came with 4 screws to attach it to the cigar box, so I'm just going to use my 5/64 inch drill bit or 2 millimeter drill bit to start some holes for those mounting screws. With the 4 holes now drilled, we're going to insert these 4 screws and have ourselves a magnetic pickup. And that is how you can install the Florentine Screamer from CB Giddy Crafter Supply on your cigar box guitar. If ever you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me at glenn@glennwatt.com. Check out where I celebrate the cigar box guitar at glennwatt.com. And until the next time, I'll see ya. Wow, this is tricky. And there is your Florentine Screamer. Hey there, and here's the Florentine Screamer installed in your cigar box. And here's the final. And here's the Florentine Screamer installed on the cigar box guitar. If you have any questions or concerns, always feel free to contact me at glenn@glennwatt.com. Something.